We're going to talk about this Duke Cal game, man. How do you feel about both of these teams at this point in the season? It's a legitimate question I have to ask you guys, because I think we've got heckle and Jodax from both of these teams. Cal was looking like, hey, Cal can win the ACC. That was some of the verbiage we were saying before the San Diego State game happened. Now, it's like Seinfeld. Y'all remember that little sound bite that they used to have when the show came on? Yeah, that was the most confusing head-scratching game of the season. So I'm like, yo, JKS can lead Cal to the promised land, and they could be right there in the thick of things as it, pertains to ACC supremacy, right? And that San Diego State game, I'm like, bro, y'all ain't put up no points. This not the Cal team we interviewed at ACC Media Days, right? This ain't the Cal team at all we interviewed at ACC Media Days. And I praise Manny Diaz. I told you guys this in the cold open. I praised Manny Diaz all season. I really did. I thought that he done such an outstanding job year one in Durham. And I also thought that he didn't get enough credit for the job that he did year one in Durham. So how are we feeling about Duke and Cal at this very moment? Pieces that I've seen that I've liked from both of these teams, but how are we feeling about them? So we don't have much here as it pertains to the history. Duke and Cal have only played twice, with the Blue Devils leading the series with one win, and then these teams got a tie. They tied in 1963 out in Berkeley, but Duke won the game, in Durham in 1962. They haven't played in that long. We talking about, 60 plus years that they played. So they meet again this week, and I don't know. It's going to be an interesting game. Both teams need these games. And I think that's why I wanted to start off the week with saying that. Both teams need the game. I think for the Maryland and Washington game, I think both teams need this game for the Duke Blue Devils and Cal game. So we got some interesting thing to talk about. Manny Diaz, talked about him in the cold open, also talked about him a little bit just a second ago. I don't want to say I'm disappointed in where they're at this year, because they've had moments where they disappointed me. They've also had moments where I'm like, okay, this is what the Manny Diaz coach team that I expect. I think a lot of that is just the parity that you're getting in college football now that we really haven't had in such a long time. And as much as we talk poorly on NIL, I think it's brought parity, if not anything else. So he's got that team, moving a little bit. Offensive coordinator Jonathan Brewer, like him a lot, runs that tempo-heavy attack built on RPOs. Of course, if you want to run that system, Darian Mensah is one of those quarterbacks you want to utilize. And the goal is simple: go fast, and they want to go fast. I'm talking hyper tempo fast. I believe he was at SMU not that long ago, who's also known for all of their, RPO offense. But they want to keep defenses vanilla. Turbo offenses. We seen it this past weekend with LSU and Ole Miss, the Magnolia Bowl. There was times that Ole Miss, who don't typically go turbo all the time, they will go no huddle, but I'm talking about turbo. Like, you have no time to make adjustments. You're not looking at our offense. We're going to give Trinidad Shameless 2 plays in the huddle. That's what I mean. When Duke is at their best, they are moving extremely fast, and your defenses are really vanilla. You got to stay basic, So, shout out to Darian Mensah. What a grab. He's playing outstanding this year. If they're winning more games, he's in the Heisman talks, I believe, as well. 1,500 yards on the season, 13 touchdowns, 70 completion percentage rate. His rhythm has been outstanding, and he fits his offense. It's hand and glove fit, to be honest with you. Nate Shepard has 356 yards rushing this season, averaging 8.1 yards per carry, and Cooper Barkate is balling. He got 409 receiving yards on the season. They're averaging 34.8 points per game. That's 44th nationally. And this offense is very dangerous when it finds its rhythm. I truly believe that, no doubt in my mind. Defensively, we got defensive coordinator Jonathan Patek. And, he has a multi-look system that revolves around his Vipers. You guys know, when I start looking at schemes, I'm looking at film, and I go deep in the crates. And I found out about this Viper position that he used in his defense, and it's a multiple front defense. It's like a hybrid edge defender who can both rush and drop into coverage. And that is very confusing for quarterback at time, because if you identify that a team is in zone, you have a feeling with the way that they're aligned, it's a cover 3, but you don't know exactly who's dropping and who's not. You know what I'm saying? Let's say they give you a fake loaded front, people going to drop. But if that defensive end drop, you're not expecting that. So if you're running a certain concept, whether it's a spot concept, whether it's a flood concept, you're not expecting him to be there. So that kinds of make it interesting. And it's also difficult on your offensive line trying to figure out, who's coming and who's not. So I think Jonathan K. I don't know how you say his last name, but I think that's what he likes to use. So and also think about the NFL style rotations. This is something I heard him. He said this himself. He likes to keep his defensive line fresh. It's something that we've seen that the Philadelphia Eagles have done for a while now. Buffalo Bills is also another team who rotates the defensive line. You don't get those defensive linemen who are playing 80 plus plays. Caleb Weaver is the heart and soul of this defense. He got 36 tackles on the season, and quarterback Musa Kane also has 1 interception on the season. They're giving up a lot of points. They're giving up 26.4 points per game. And against a Cal team who's still trying to find that rhythm offensively, they got smacked versus San Diego State. I was also a little bit disappointed in them in that game versus BC. That's no shot at BC. I just think that, hey, I expect more out of Cal. I really do. So speaking of Cal, let's talk about Cal a little bit. They're 4-1 on the season. 1-0 in the ACC after beating BC this past weekend. Justin Wilcox remains true to his defensive roots. He really is. And Bryan Harsin wasn't a home run hire in the eyes of many people, if we're being honest. A lot of people dig into his history. They didn't like how things worked out at Auburn. And let's just say I think it was a great hire, from a scheme perspective. Somebody that's kind of seen everything and been a little bit everywhere, success at it, G5 level success. Not really much success, but had some success in the SEC. I think he's seen it all. And quarterback, we like to call him JKS, Jaron-Keawé Sagapolutele. I probably butchered it, but I was close. We got 242 yards, 8 touchdowns on the season. Running back Kendrick Raphael got 347 yards on the ground. He fuels the ground game. And the wide receiver Tron Gazelle got 344 yards, and he's kind of that possession weapon. This unit is only averaging 24.8 points per game, but when you look at that number, it's kind of skewed with them not scoring at all versus San Diego State. All right, Cal defensively lean on the duo of Terrence Brown and Vic. So Alto, I probably butchered that name as well. They changed defense coordinators. I think after last season is when they changed it. A Brown secondary scheme relies on tight pattern matching to suffocate passing lanes, while Soto emphasizes front seven disruption and disguise pressures. Linebacker Cade Uluave, who I interviewed this past year at ACC Media Days. That's one thing I love about being a credentialed member of the media, is the ability to get to talk to these people. This past year, if you do not know, we went to during the media day cycle, we went to 3 events. We went to Big 12 Media Days first, then we went to ACC Media Days, then we went to the American Media Days, and I enjoyed the American Media Days out of all of them. I really did. The access, teams fighting to get over there with us, I think it was amazing. I may go on the all G5 run next year, G6 run for Media Days. It wouldn't surprise me if I did something like that. And Big 12, because Big 12, it was so easy getting interviews there, and mascots are there, cheerleaders are there, players are there. It's super dope. So, Cade Uluave, he's really good, 40 tackles. Hezekiah Massis, he got 4 interceptions on the season. They're the tone setters, and that defense is allowing just 18 points per game. That's 34th nationally. So what do I anticipate for this game? I think both offenses are going to come out and set the tone. I don't think this is one of those games where people are going to play the possession game and, try to, of course everybody wants to win a war of attrition on the line of scrimmage. I think both of these teams are coming out here, and they're coming out here to score a lot of points. I think this will be a high-scoring affair. I think Cal defense will be frustrated playing this RPO scheme. And as badly as I want to pick Cal, I can't unsee what I see. I can't unsee that abysmal performance versus San Diego State. And I can't unsee them almost losing to BC this week. Give me Duke in a shootout. I'm talking about a mega shootout, like 42-35. I'm talking about that type of shootout.